Shall we
Yes, sir.
begin,
1 minute, I
sir?
will welcome.
If you say we begin, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shobha, shall we begin?
Monish sir. Yeah, Monish sir.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. You can.
Shobha.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, Nasrin.
Nazreen madam. Yeah.
Sir. I'll
Over to
just
Nazreen
welcome.
madam.
Okay, sir. So, good afternoon, one and all. I am Nasrin Taj, Assistant Professor, Department of IIC. It gives me immense pleasure to start this webinar with blessings of God. First and foremost, I heartily welcome key speakers of today's webinar, Mr. Shailesh Patil, Mr. Subramaniam sir, welcome. I also welcome facilitator of this webinar, Ms. Shobha Patil. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Y. Vijay Kumar, Principal, GMIT. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you.
I also welcome Dr. Sunil Kumar BS, Professor and Head, Department of ISC. Welcome you, sir. I extend my warm welcome to Dr. Muhammad Yasin, Coordinator, GMIT ISC, Dr. Maunesh Achari, Convener, GMIT IIC, and Dr. Ganesh DB, Vice President, GMIT IIC. Welcome you all.
Hello, madam. Thank you, madam.
I wholeheartedly welcome heads of various departments, faculty members, those who have joined us today. Welcome you all. Last but not the least, I welcome all my dear students. Welcome you all to this program. Next, I request our beloved principal, Dr. Y. Vijay Kumar sir, to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Madam, thank you so much for wonderful welcome and introduction. And without wasting much of speaker's time, I want to address all my students and faculty members the same topic, business model canvas. When the morning when we were discussing with some of my colleagues and students, they were telling it's too early, sir, because this is a actually it should come in the postgraduate level, and then we are just students, and then. So I want to convey that it is a strategic tool for a business model, which is very, very important. And then today the people are using these type of strategic tools everywhere to become successful. Now, this is a wonderful opportunity, especially thanks should go to all the three resource persons who have taken lot of pain and introducing this particular strategic tool to us. Now, I'll give a small one or two incidents, the things which if you have in your mind, how it will change the business. And I think everybody knows that Aditya Birla Group, whose founder is Aditya Birla. When he has expired, his son Kumar Mangalam Birla was doing MBA at America. And when he has come back and completed his our father's rituals and everything, and that Aditya Birla Group policy is the person, family member has to come the ladder and then take the CEO position. But that is a time when he has explained to his grandmother that if you give this group to me, I will keep this group in the top 5 one. Then whichever component we will select, whichever product we are going to manufacture, I will be in the top 5 one. So this type of strategic planning and these things, and then when somebody asks what is the strategy you are using to make it, and that is a thing is going to play a major role. And today, if you see aluminum, Aditya Birla is on the top. If you take whatever the products they are doing manufacturing today, cement or whatever it is, they are in the top 5 in the country. Not only in the country, even in some of the countries also together you can take it. And this is how it is the one. And similarly, if you ask Asian Paints, what is your strategic tool? They say that the organization Asian Paints wants to be there on a systems-oriented organization. And that is the only organization in India. First, they taught to complete corporate. Even people do not know who is a CEO, who is a general manager, who is a finance person. Even today also we will say that if the accountant, if he doesn't come to office, you cannot check, you cannot be passed. But if you go to Asian Paints, everything is one. Similarly, if you ask the Reliance Industries, what is your strategy tools? If you ask the people, they say that We want to be 5 years ahead of other organizations who are in the same business with respect to financial transactions. That's what now they are doing. Similarly, if you ask the Titan, what is your strategy for become success or to become successful? The Ratan Tata said that I want to see an organization without union. I want to see an organization without the union staff members. That's the reason if you go to Usur and then if you see the Titan organization, even the mopping person who cleans the floor, he is also called as an executive, and that's the only organization in India without union. So these are some of the strategies. I do not know whether I am right or wrong. This strategic tools, business model, how to make it business successful will be helpful. Now, with this simple introduction, now I handing over back to the resource persons. Now, since this is my favorite topic and subject, even I also will be there full session, and everybody will participate. And wherever you want, I think you can. Morning, Monish was telling that, sir, you can disturb the speakers and then you can talk to them. So, my dear students, it's a wonderful opportunity you got. One, please participate actively and learn the things because this is going to be helpful for tomorrow. Because tomorrow, when you go for a placement, you himself have to ask the question. You himself has to answer it. That's how they are expecting from you. So that's why today this session is very important. Now, with this small introduction and again, warm welcome to all the resource persons. And thanks to Sunil, Nasreen, and Monish, and everyone for arranging a wonderful topic. Now, back to you, madam. Please take care. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Sahana Rani of HCM ISC to introduce today's speakers. Over to you, Sahana.
Good afternoon, one and all. I am Sahana of HCM ISC. V. Subramaniam, Directory Digital Technology, EMEA, Digital and Transformation. Sir has 20 plus years in global leadership experience across geographies like Asia, Europe, ME in OTIS. He is a board member in OTIS ISRC, has 33 plus enterprise IT leadership experience across industries like manufacturing, fast-moving consumer goods, and MNC. He is visionary leader, strategic thinker, team player, domain experience, multicultural and diversified experience. He worked in IT and digital like business strategies, transformation, and execution. He has 15 plus years in delivering guest lectures in leading B schools like NMIMS, SP Jain, and so on. He is CIO 100 awardee and speaker in CXO forum. Today I welcome to this webinar, sir.
Thank you.
Secondly, Shobha Patil ma'am. Shobha Patil ma'am, the founder and managing director of BPA Labs, Pro Czech Republic and alumnus of GMIT. She has over 16 years of IT experience and an entrepreneur. Today I welcome you to ma'am for this webinar.
Thank you, Sahana.
Lastly, the Shailesh Patil sir. He is the CEO and founder of SAP TRO, which is based in Prague and Czech Republic. He has 35 plus years international leadership experience across industries like shipping, apparel, nutraceutical, finance, management, and IT consultancy at board level. He worked with Fortune 500 company, Resul Corporation Europe, subsidiary of Resul Corporation USA, as well as SMEs globally at senior management board level. Also has set up business across many industries. He is a visionary leader and strategic thinker. He is expertise in areas of change management, continuous improvement program, distribution, supply chain management, entrepreneurship, sales management, marketing, digital transformation and marketing, brand management, e-commerce, CRMS, ERPs, strategy, etc. And also actively trained and spoke on various topics of leadership, business management, industry innovation, and company re-engineering across industries, geographies, and culture. Today, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sahana. So next, I hand over this platform to our key speakers. Very eager to listen to your session, sir. Over to you.
Okay. So first of all, good morning, very good morning, good afternoon, everyone. To my great people from India. It's always very passionate to speak to our fellow Indians across the platform, and also to the students, the young leaders who are going to be the groom to become the young leaders. So good morning, and gratitude of thanks for the wonderful opportunity, Shobha and everyone. So with your due permission, I will switch off the video because I want to put the full screen presentation, please. Okay, everyone is able to see the slide. Okay, so let us talk about what is this business model canvas. So I think Dr. Vijay sir set up the tone that whether business model canvas is really required now to be learned or later, and what is the benefit of this business model canvas, and who are the people who are going to use. So we'll just talk about it. So what we are going to do is we are going to make it very interesting. We are not going to create more complexities or more challenging time. In the challenging time, we don't want to create that complexity. So we just want to make it a little bit light, and so that we understand the nuances of what is this business model, and then how do we use this business model to create a canvas for our that organization, what we want to work. Or maybe some of you may make also would like to create their own organization as an entrepreneur. Okay. So let us start something nice, passion. So leadership is all about passion. So there are two kinds of people in the world. One is living and one is existing. So what category of people we all would like to be? So life is all about learning. Okay. So this new one, what we are going to learn is also an experience, and it also gives you an enriching experience. So it's important to be passionate to learn something new. So with this, now what is business model canvas? Okay. So all of us know what is the meaning of the word canvas. Canvas can be used to do painting, okay, or any art or anything, strategy, okay. So every organization has a business model, okay, whether it's a small organization or a big organization, any organization has a business model. And many organizations, what they do is in a periodic of maybe once in 5 years, they revisit this business model, because the model or the way the business changes has drastic change. And most important, post-COVID situation, the entire business model has gone for change, because the way we interact with the customer, the way we work, the way we operate, the way the profitability comes. So it's a very right time for us to learn this concept. Of course, there are many business models available in the world. So one of them is business model canvas, which is quite popular. And most important, it's very simple to use. Okay. So what I would recommend to all of you students is most important to the students. When we start speaking about this business model canvas, what you need to do, you need to visualize how you can apply this, whatever learnings you are going to learn in your project, or maybe take up a small project, so that when you apply this learning, then you learn how to use this model as you grow in your career. Okay. Now, what is this business model canvas is all about? Okay, so this contains around about 9 building blocks. Okay, one of the important building blocks is value proposition. So we will talk about what we will do is we'll go each and every segment. We will give you what is this each and every building blocks is all about, and give you some practical examples of how you can apply these building blocks in the way you want to learn, and as you start growing in your career, how you can apply. And it's also, I would recommend all of you maybe form a group of 5 to 6 people, create a project, visualize a project that you are starting a company, and how you can apply this business model canvas to create the business model for your entrepreneur journey. Okay. So one is value proposition. So then the second is the customer segment. The customer segment, we'll talk about what are the various segments the customer belongs, and most important, customer relationship, why it's totally important. And most important today is how you build virtual customer relationship, because today it's everybody interacts with the customer in a virtual way, and the channels or your distributor or the partners. and the revenue stream, because ultimately everybody wants to make money. So what is the way you make the money? And finally, on the right hand side is the resources, that is your team, your partners, your customer, your vendors, and everybody. And what are the activities which goes into building these blocks? Okay. And last but not least is the partnership and the cost structure. So we will go into each and every blocks and we will talk about it in a very practical way. So let us create a simple one. So this is how a business model canvas template looks like. Okay, and I will share you this template because this is a template we try to create with various examples, and how you can use this template to maybe you want to create a strategy for your company, or you want to revive a strategy of a startup company, or even you can use it for problem solving. Okay, because we'll talk about it. And even we are trying to experiment is how you can use this business model canvas to create a career for you. Okay, because even your career is your business. Am I right? Like today you are doing your bachelor's or your postgraduate, and then what you want to be in another 5 years, it's itself. There are two ways to create a career. One, you just go sequential, do your graduation, do your post graduation, and do your PhD, or just join some company, or you create a business model for yourself and say in 5 years I want to be like this, and then how you can use this canvas. So we'll talk about it very soon. Okay. The first one, the key partners. Okay. This is the very important aspect of the business model. Okay. Now, what do you mean by partners? Okay. Let us take example. So there is a startup company, or maybe we can give two examples. There is a company called HCL, because most of your people have got placed in HCL, Infosys, and everybody. So let us talk about this HCL company, or another company is Marico. All of you know Marico is one of the leading FMCG company in India. They make parachute, coconut oil, the Saffola, and everything. So what are the means? How do you identify the partner? The first step is how do we identify the partner? Okay, and the second is the supplier. So let us talk about Marico. What do you mean by supplier? So the Marico, for the raw material, you need supplier, and same thing for Otis elevator, we need supplier for the various components and various parts. Now, if you take an automobile industry, you need various suppliers for the parts. Okay, so then comes the key resources. So what I'd like to ask Shailesh is, if you can give some practical examples based on your experience, like why it's important to identify the key partners, why it's important to identify the key suppliers or the resources, and how do you define activities for the partners to create that performance?
Okay, let me sort of take a step back. Now, most businesses or business models, you can categorize into things like enterprises, a SaaS model, a user-based model, or a subscription model, or a transaction model, or a marketplace model, e-commerce, advertising, hardware. So when you use a business model canvas, firstly, you have to understand what business are you in, what kind of industry are you in, what kind of organization you are in. So once you have identified that, then it is easier. Now, for example, I will take a engineering company which probably makes cars, for example, or you could make any machinery. So who will be your key partners? Your key partners will be your equipment manufacturer. There will be governments, because you have to liaise with governments for regulations, your leasing companies, your people who make batteries or engines, people who manufacture, purchase, insurance companies, charge points. So these are your key partners. And so you know these are your key partners. So what do you require? What are your activities for that, utilizing those key partners? You do research and development, you design, you make power technologies, you manufacture cars, or you have charge point infrastructure, for example, battery cars. So it is important to identify what are you going to be doing, who do you require to make this happen, plus what are the resources you're going to require. The resources you're going to require, employee, skills, knowledge, engineering, branding. So all of these activities are resources you require. So all these blocks are tied in together. Okay. Let's look at this part of the what you call the business model is what is called the cost structure or the execution model, because you cannot create value with you have to create value and then you have to execute it. So what are the costs involved? There'll be manufacturing infrastructure costs, there will be general admin, sales cost, R&D costs, employee costs, banks, cost of material. So that area of the business model canvas is created for understanding the cost structure, what is the financial implications, and what is the execution. So all these are interrelated, and you have to understand that business model canvas template is not a one-time use canvas. It's a canvas. You rub it, you draw it again. You rub it, you draw it again. It's just like a painter. You know, he paints and then he draws another painting, he creates something else. So it's a creation. So you have to look at it. And one of the good things about it's easy. You know, you can align all these boxes, you can interplay with these boxes, and more industry is utilizing these not on a, you know, you have a 5-year strategic plan and a 3-year strategic plan, but almost every year that especially technology businesses, they are creating business models because things are changing so fast. You know, you had the pandemic, suddenly you had everything, you had to go on Zoom or Microsoft or some other package to communicate. So then you require different skills, you require different models. So you have to understand this dynamic of how they relate to each other. So once you understand that, then you can optimize, you can reduce what the risks are, you can acquire acquisition of particular resources, activities. So keep it at a simple sort of level. This is an example of a manufacturing company which is manufacturing cars or maybe some other mechanical equipment.
Yeah, just to give you a summary, like how do we apply this particular model? Okay, let us take example HCL. Okay, they are an IT company. Okay, so now let us talk about what does HCL does. They provide solutions, they provide services across various industries for various customers across the globe. So now let us talk about now how do we identify who are the key partners. So today, let us take HCL as partnership with Microsoft because they provide Microsoft solution, and they have partnered with IBM because they provide IBM. They also have a SAP implementation, so they partner with SAP, and also they have a partner with Intel for working with the Intel Corporation, and also they have partnership with Salesforce. They have multiple partners, and most important is what is the value of each and every partner, because, and second, what is the partnership level for today. So today this is the as-is scenario. Now in 5 years down the line, what are the new technologies which is going to come? Like let us take example RPA, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and all other stuff. Now who are the partners does HCL want to partner? So then that is where they identify the partnership for all these strategic initiatives and how this company want to position in the 5 years. So that is on the partners. Now coming back to these resources. Okay. Now what are the resources required to support, to get that knowledge? Because IT companies are basically a knowledge-based company. Okay. Because they have the knowledge, they create solutions, and that's where then identify the resources. Today, I have these many resources skilled in these various technologies, various strategies. Now in 5 years, if I want to go 5x growth, or maybe 10x growth, or maybe like yourself was telling that Aditya Birla wants to be on the top 5. So HCL says, I want to be the top 5 company across all IT company. Then what are the resources I need to acquire? And what are the skill sets I need to get for the resources? And the last one is activities. Okay, I have the partners, I define the suppliers, I have the resources. Now it's important to identify the activities. Activities are the tasks So it's important to do a deep dive section of various activities in one for the partnering, for the supplier, and second the resources. And that's where this collaboration. And today, when we talk about partners, when we talk about this key partner, it's also about collaboration. It's also about co-creating value, because gone are the days only one company makes everything. Today, it's a collaborative world and it's a co-creation world. So then that's where then it's important to what motivates the partner, because today Microsoft is not only a partner for HCL, but they also partner with multiple companies. Now, why Microsoft should be very inclusive to HCL? And same thing, HCL has to define how do I create that inclusiveness with Microsoft so that I become their strategic partner. So these are the things which helps in defining this particular model. Okay. So let us talk about the next model, which is key activities. Now, what do you mean by activities? Okay, so activities are those tasks, okay, which helps the business model to identify or approach towards the vision. Okay, so that's important. And second, as I talked about in the earlier slide, is okay, in 5 years from now, what HCL want to become. Okay, you can use any name of the company, but I'm just giving you an example so that because most of you guys will be correlating it. So now 5 years from now, HCL want to position themselves as a digital evangelist, or maybe a digital game changer, or maybe so now so we identified the partners. Now what activities? Okay, what are the activities which goes in creating the channels, which goes in creating the customer relationship? Then also it's important to do the revenue, because this is one more topic. We have a separate model on revenue. We'll talk about it. Okay. So now, what is that they want to what products they want to create? Okay. So today, okay, they partner with Microsoft. Okay. I want the Microsoft as a dynamic CRM. So now I want to create an exclusive Salesforce system using Dynamics platform. Okay. And that will be branded, co-branded between HCL and Microsoft, and which can be hosted on the Azure cloud, which can be used by small, medium, and big enterprises at a very at a very value proposition. And second, it's important to know what problems the organization faces and what are the problems today. Where are we? Because as a company, we also have problems. Okay, so it's important to deep dive into those problems and say, hey, I am facing this quality problem. Okay, I am facing the skill set problem. How do I address this skill sets in the next coming 5 years to create the game changer? Okay, and what are the products and solutions which I built over 20 years, and how I can eliminate or how I can retire those products and move into the new product segment? Have anyone imagined round about 5-10 years back, everybody built their data centers? Okay, you take any organization, but Otis or everybody, they have their own data center. Then it was like a religious place, and you need to very restricted entry into the data center and everything. Today, what happened? Most companies don't have data center. It's all in the cloud. Okay, so nobody knows where the data center is. Nobody has seen the servers. Nobody has seen who are these administrators. So that's the change. Nobody visualized. So today, every organization is moving towards the cloud. Okay, so this is what is important. Is called the visionary. What technologies will create game changers for the organization? You take example Uber, or you take Tesla, or you take Airbnb. Look at the model. What is Uber's business model? It's all the app. It's all in the cloud. What is the business model for Amazon? It's all in the cloud. They are not like a brick and mortar company. And today, brick and mortar companies are creating the game changers. So it's important to revisit. So this business model, it's not only to create a business plan, but also important to revisit. Okay, what are the products which I can retire? Okay, let us take example how you can apply this model into your university. Okay, I can see a lot of faculties here. So today, what are the courses you're offering? So what is that product you make? Your product is your courses. Okay, and your customers are your students. Okay, so what is the courses you're making? And in next 5 years, will these courses be relevant or will these courses be game changers? What game changer courses I need to imbibe, and so that I can create that edge, cutting edge. And I want to be the top 5 universities in India or the top 5 universities in the world, where I create leaders, I create digital champions, and we create game changers. And that's when you have that vision, then what happens? You need to look at what courses you want to retire and what courses you want to bring in. And the same thing on problem solving. 5 years back, everybody used different ways of problem solving. And today there is something called design thinking, which I'll cover in one of the slides, which we can use. How do you address a problem as a problem to solve the customer solution? So that we'll talk about problem solving. And the last one is the network. Okay. So how do you create that network, and which networking is also important, and how do we create that market? And there is one more very nice word called presence in the market. So which I will cover in the last one, because this presence is a very powerful topic. Okay. And how every company creates the presence, like why people remember Apple, why people remember Tesla, what is the presence they created in the market? And that's where how every company can create that presence using some USPs. So Shailesh, for you, please.
Okay, so let's look at. I mean, I will go through a model which probably takes you away from a little bit mechanical. Let's look at a subscription model. We all watch, we watch Netflix, we watch Amazon Prime, we watch Apple TV. So what does that model look like? How did, I mean, if you look at the history of Netflix or Airbnb, you will see at some point in time in their history, they used a business model canvas template to be successful. In fact, Airbnb almost went bankrupt before they used that model. So let me give you an example of a completely different kind of company. Okay, let's look at a subscription company. So what is a subscription company? So who do they require as their key partners? So for example, they require investors, they require media producers, they require filmmakers, they require cinemas, theaters, TV networks, consumer electronic companies, regulators. What are the key activities they are involved in? Technology, R&D, content licensing, content production, content distribution, data analytics, and sales and marketing. So what do they require to build this kind of partnership? They require branding, they require apps, websites, platforms, employees, filmmakers, and certain awards they have created. So you have to understand that, and then related to all this, they have a cost structure. The cost structure is production, R&D, licensing, infrastructure, general admin, human resources. So that's that part of the business canvas model, which is again related to execution and finance. Now, what is it that they're offering you? What are these companies offering you? When they decide on a business canvas, what is it that they offer? What they're offering you? So if you are a particular salesperson, you'll say, what's your pitch? What are you pitching? As an organization, as a university, you are offering courses, and your customers are your students. So what is a company like a subscription company offering you? What are they offering you? Their value proposition is basically demand entertainment 24/7, high definition shows, stream content, unlimited access, original content, and sometimes they give you 30 days free trial and without any commercial, right? Now, once you've created a value proposition for a company, whether it may be a subscription company or an e-commerce company like Amazon or any of these companies, you have to find, once you've created the value proposition, you have to find the customers. So you have to segment your customers. You have to target who will you take this value proposition to. So for example, in the case of a subscription type company, you will have general public, you will segment it via language, you will segment it via regions, you will segment it via demographics. So you will create a market basically for each content that you're providing. For example, if you take Netflix, what you get on Netflix in Czech Republic and what you get in India is quite different. What you get on Netflix in USA and what you get in the UK is quite different. So they cater for that particular market. Now, of course, how will you provide that content? You will provide that content by using certain channels, right? In a product driven company, you would call it a distribution channel. But if you are providing in a company which is a subscription, so you will provide it through your apps, you will provide it through your website or your online advertising, your social media or offline advertising. And and how do they build relationship? Because when you log on to any of these portals, Netflix or any of these, it's a self-service portal. It's on demand. It's easy to use. You don't need to speak to anybody. You don't need to call anybody. There is no kind of customer service like in physical products. So that's how the value is created. So they have created a value for you to provide to a customer segment, and based upon that, they have decided this is going to be the cost structure. These are the partners we need. These are the activities we need. These are the resources we need. Now, how do they generate revenue? Through subscription, product placement. They have some rental, and they have also certain companies that they own, which generate revenue through licensing. So this is totally. So this is an example I'm giving you of a subscription model company. So you don't always are restricted in a particular segment. So this is just to give you a flavor that this business model canvas template can be applied across the board. It is so. Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is the key resource. Okay. Now, in terms of the key resource, so resources are very important. Resources can be your people, can be your team, can be your customers, can be your supplier. Okay. It's important to know, okay, in 5 years down the line, if I want to be the top 5 in like, let us continue with the same example of HCL. Okay. Now, I want to be the top 5 company focusing on digitalization, using artificial intelligence. Now, what are the resources I need to have? Okay, do I have the right resources now? Okay, and what are the resources I need to scale up? And what type of skill sets I need to have these resources? Now, these resources can be your internal resources or through your partners. Suppose HCL is implementing some solution through partners. Okay, and if the partner doesn't have these resources, it can create an impact not only for the partner but even for the parent company. Okay, so that's where then what happens? How as an important partner, what skill sets or what is the training system we deliver to make sure that these resources are empowered. Okay, so now this is on the resource. Then same thing, what is the relationship? Because when we talk about resources, so let us take example in let us again give an example of HCL. Okay, so today we talk about integrated systems. Okay, so there is a team which is working on SAP, ERP, and there is a team which is working on artificial intelligence. Okay, now if these two teams doesn't talk to each other, then we cannot bring value-added service. Because let me give an example. We are implementing ERP system, a centralized ERP system across borders. So what we do is we use artificial intelligence using robotic process automation to create a training facilities or to guide the people how to go through a transactions or how to go through the approval process. Okay, using RPA tools. So now if an RPA vendor is totally different, and second is if the ERP vendor is totally different, and if somebody who's doing integration is totally different, then what happens? We need to spend the time and energy to synergize all these three people to come to a platform. So in case, suppose HCL is doing this work, and if they have two teams, and if they don't have that knowledge, if they don't have the right skill sets, then they will not be able to maximize this new technology to create that value. So that's where it's important One, to identify the resources, to assess the skill sets, and second, not only within the company, but also 5 years down the line, what type of skill sets do I need to acquire? So all these companies acquire. Let us take HCL. Most of your students are getting placed in HCL or Infosys and everything. So what is the technology skills we are training our students? Okay, are they working on the cutting edge technologies like artificial intelligence? Are they learning the skills as a silo? Or are they learning the skills of how to apply the skills in to what you call to whatever product or whatever solution that the IT companies wants to build for the customer? That is where is important. One, learning the skill as a silo, and second, how to apply that skills in an integrated way is also equally important. And the last but not least is how do you collaborate all these multiple skills to create that unique value for the customer? That's all that creates the game changer. Okay, so that's where then automatically the revenue streams get established. Okay, so now I want to start a HCL says I want to start a vertical which talks about only digital solution. Means we provide any digital solution using artificial intelligence, RPA, machine learning, deep learning, or whatever is it across all platforms. So then they will have people resources from ERP, they will have resources from the various CRM, and then how do they integrate together? And one more thing which is important is the intellectual property. Okay, so intellectual today what happened, it's important to have a copyright, and all of us know that when as a global company you operate across geographies, it's important to talk about data privacy and data protection, because every country and every region has their own GDPR. So everybody who is a student who wants to embark a career in an IT company, like be it HCL or even Microsoft, anybody, we should know at least the basics of what is this GDPR is all about, what is this data privacy is all about, what is this data protection is all about. And at the same time, it's important to learn the industry. Okay, so when you join an HCL company or Infosys, anybody, you're going to make a product or solution for a company like Otis or anybody. So it's important to understand a little bit how an automobile company works and what are the skill sets and the knowledge an automobile company has. And the same thing on the financial. And it's important to learn little bit nuances of the finance. Okay, like basic thing like cash flow. Like even tomorrow when you start your own company, so you make a product, you make a solution, you want to make it pan global, then it's important to learn compliance. It is important to know your resources, and it's important to know your financials. So what is your trial balance? What is your profitability? What's the growth strategy? So all these things gets what are the activities we define, and that model and that's entire detailed activity is covered in this resource. So to summarize, it's important is identify your resources, assess your strength, and assess what you need to do in 5 years, and also acquire skills in the areas where you don't have the domain knowledge. So please acquire the skills. Shailesh, for you.
Yeah. So let's look at one of the key areas that you have to understand. Whichever organization you go to, maybe it's HCL, Infosys, or whether it's another organization, whether you are doing a startup or whichever organization, the key thing, first thing you have to understand is what is it that you're able to offer the market, your customers, what is your unique selling point or USP as people call it. So what is it? So you have to figure out right in the beginning that this is what you may be able to offer. So for example, I will take another industry. I'll take Airbnb example. Okay, Airbnb has many, many similar companies in India. They also have a lot of other competitors across the world. But what was it that they said in the beginning that they would do? How did they use the business canvas model template to decide what their value proposition will be? So what they did, they had hosts, which is somebody whose property was empty and would like to place somebody there. They had guests who they were targeting. They were targeting hotels. They were providing an experience. You know, so it's a different experience staying in a hotel, then it's a different experience staying, in a Airbnb room. So there was low cost accommodation. There was variety of locations. There was choices. There were budgets, different budgets. There were unique points. You could list it easily. So all they did was they created a platform. And in that platform that they created, they provided certain kind of value propositions for you and me to utilize. So then they decided, okay, who are we going to target? So what were the characteristics for this value proposition? They were new. I mean, there was nothing similar to Airbnb before. They customize it to your individual needs. So you could choose the size of the flat you wanted, how many people stayed in it, so, and they designed the whole platform accordingly. The pricing was very competitive. You didn't have to pay enormous hotel fees. If you go into a hotel, it might have cost you $200 a night, while this was costing you $50 to $60. There was less risk reduction because they vetted all the people who operated the Airbnb. There was easy accessibility via their platform. So there was convenience. There was you could utilize it. So it's not only just a company which is say a technology company, but technology, they utilize the technology they created to give an excellent value proposition.
Yeah, so this value proposition is a very important aspect in business model canvas. Did itself is a very big topic. Okay, now let me, as Shailesh gave some examples. So let me simplify this, how you can use this value proposition based on the examples what Shailesh has talked about it. Okay, now let us one of the good example. Let us talk about your university. Okay, so what is that value proposition your university is going to give? Okay, it's basically they want to give high quality education and they want to create leaders in the 21st century. Okay, so this is an example. So same thing, every company has the value proposition. Then it's important to revisit this value proposition once in 5 years. Okay, because the world is fast-paced changing. So if I have a value proposition, like example, let us take GM Motors. Okay, their value proposition was, I want to build a nice car. Okay, but today you have highly competition. You have Tesla coming, everybody coming. So now what is the value proposition that company has to change? So it's important to revisit this value proposition. And second, let me give one more best example is Marico. Everybody knows that company by the brand. Everybody knows what is Saffola, what is Parachute coconut oil, but very few people know Marico is the company which makes all these products. Okay, so you can create your value proposition for a brand also, or you can create a value proposition for the company also. So that is what I just want to give you an example. So if you take an IT company, which is having multiple verticals. The one vertical is focused on ERP, one vertical is focused on digitalization, one vertical is focused on artificial intelligence or emerging technologies or whatever is it. So then every vertical has the value proposition, and then overall the company will have a unique value proposition which gets interlinked to these multiple value propositions. So the company value proposition is about the company. The vertical value proposition is about the services or the value they want to give it to their customers. So that is how this value proposition is very important. And this is the exercise where people spend maximum time into identify what do we want to deliver to the customer. Okay, what creates value to the customer. Okay, and second, what are the challenges the customer is facing? So let us take example, this last year, the pandemic got strike, okay? And everybody has to start working remotely, okay? Now, let me ask a very simple question. How many of you who have never even worked remotely, never used Zoom tools, never used Teams, okay, how many people went through the training? I don't know, very rare. And what change management did people, organizations did for people to change, to adapt to the new way of working? It's very less, but people just got adapted. It's called baptism by fire, or you just jump into the fire, then you learn it by yourself. So this is, so the things, that's what I want to repeat again is the business model got changed last year and post-COVID. So this is where then what we want to know is today, if I want to create a business model for a company, okay, I get invited to by a company or a startup company, then I will look at what is that we were delivering and what is that we want to deliver post-normal, new normal. And second, what challenges we are facing today and what challenges the customer will face going forward, and what services I can enable remotely, and how do I create that inclusiveness in this remote working. And second, what is the customer segment I want to create? Okay, there will be one set of customer segment which works in a one way, and second, what is the customer segment and how do I transform or transition the customers from current state to the futuristic state in the 21st century. So this is a very important topic. I would request all of you to spend more time to deep dive into this meaning of the value proposition and identify some examples. You put up an example like what is the value proposition for Marico? What is the value proposition for HLL? What's the value proposition for Aditya Birla Group? So then it gives you an experience to see how these companies apply this particular topic in a very effective way. Okay, so I will share you this value proposition canvas because there is a subset value proposition canvas is like what is the benefit of this, what is the benefit of the deal, what we want to do, and what are the experience. But at the same time, it's also important to create the needs and the fears. The fear is nothing but what is stopping me from going forward. Okay, so people today there is the uncertainty. Okay, people are very uncertain that what will happen the next moment, what will happen the next 5 years, and what changes will happen. So there is always a fear of uncertainty. But even in the uncertainty, how do we plan it to create that game changers is also important, and which we can do it through this value proposition canvas. Okay. And the next one is on the customer channels. The customer channels is important. Okay, like you take any company, they have channel. You take like example your Uber Eats, okay, or your restaurants. Today, all of us do e-commerce because most of us don't even go out of the home, and we do e-commerce. Okay, so you take Amazon, you take Flipkart. So what do? They have channels and they have multiple partnerships. How do they deliver the product to you in a very safe and a quality in a better way? So today there is a setup. Okay, today I have a channel. Okay, now what are the limitations of the channel? What are the strengths of the current channel? And second, how integrated the channels are. Okay, if you just go and look at some of the organizations, the channels were not integrated. The supply chain got impacted. Most of us know when the pandemic started, and everybody started giving online, then you know what happened. Sometimes the website doesn't work, and sometimes you order a product, it will take another 3 weeks, and sometimes you order a product, something other comes up, and sometimes the customer cancels. So we had to go through all these challenges. So why? Because it's the same IT system, but what happened? It's not integrated. So that's where the lacunas came out in the open. So it's important. This is how this business model canvas helps you to revisit and say, what challenges did I face now? And how do I overcome this challenge to be a game changer in the coming years? So are we integrated? Are we really connected? Are we really co-creating value? Are my systems connected? Can I give the single version of the truth? And second, is my channel partners are also aware of my vision? Or is my channel partner is aware of my value proposition? Okay, And second, what is my after sales delivery? So it's like an end-to-end compass we need to develop to make sure that we reach one, the customer is always the king. And second, how do we co-create value to the customer? That's the objective. Shailesh, for you, please.
Okay, so it's I mean, absolutely I agree with what Subbu just said, but just taking it a little bit further, you know, I would give you sort of examples of different kinds of you know, the customer channels. So for example, if you the traditional models, if you look at retail models or wholesale models, you know, they were models based on, you know, you had a wholesaler who used to retail products, and then that's how they used to reach the customer, the manufacturer, the distributor, the retailer. Now with e-commerce, all that has gone. Not bricks and mortar businesses are still existing, but bricks and mortar businesses are reduced in their influence. So what's happened? You've got Amazon, you've got Flipkart, you've got Snapdeal, you've got Myntra, you've got Alibaba, you've got IMG, you've got First Class. All these companies exist today because they have created different channels. They from a traditional B2B channels that used to exist, they have created a B2C channel, providing the same level of products, providing the better level of service, and on a simplified platform. So you know you're getting your things directly to you. You can examine them, you can get them. So these are the channels being utilized. Of course, there are different companies with different channels. So some companies which are basically media based, or they use more of social media. So they use things like Facebook, Instagram, etc. So that is how the channels operate. So it is very important that you understand how you are going to get your service or products to your customers, and your channels should be flexible, should be integrated, you should be able to change them as required, the need as your customers require. So that's one channel.
Okay. And the other one, just to support on the earlier one, on the slide of the customer relationship is important. This is just a subset of the earlier one. So when we have identified that what is the relationship we want to maintain with the customer, okay? It's all about partnership. Relationship is partnership is a one level above the relationship, okay? And that's where then what happens when we have the effective relationship, you have the trust, you have the belief. And second, how do we work with the customer? Because today, if you look at loyalty is diminishing. Okay, I will just give an example, like around about 50 years back, 20 years back, when any builder wants to build a building, he will first get the Otis elevator board, the Otis board. How many of you remember, like 25 years back, whenever they pass through some building, the first is whether the building is coming up or not, but they will see a nice board of Otis. Okay, today nobody sees it. Why? That's the change. And today there is a high competition, so we have a lot of competition. So every company has multiple competition, and every company, their customer loyalty is diminishing. Okay, like today I have an iPhone, and tomorrow Samsung launches a nice one, so people shift the chain, and within the same household you will have multiple things. So coming back to the point, one, customer relationship is important. And how do we establish the customer relationship? Now, what this business model canvas does, where are we in my customer relationship today? Okay, what is the metrics I have defined? Am I delivering on time? Am I delivering on quality? Suppose let us take an IT company. They are into solutions. Okay, how many did I deliver quality solutions? How many times the solution what I deployed got failed? And how many times I created success? And second, did I give on-time delivery? At what cost? Did I bring some optimization? And what is that extra mile I walk to support the customer? So then you align it with your goal. Today, this is where is my current status, and I want to transform in another 5 years. And how do I transform? And how do I scale up to meet the customer expectations? And then you try to pull on the multi-customer experience and create a metrics. Okay, so this customer relationship is an investment, And it's important to do a deep dive on the relationship to identify where do I want to take this relationship to the next level to co-create value.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. How you going to create value for your customers? I mean, there are different companies which take a different route to this. Some people have direct relationships with their customers. Some have, like, if you are working in some sort of company which is, for example, say Google or Facebook, or I mean, how do they? Facebook never contacts you, but they have a platform created for you to contact them and create customer relationship with each and every individual. So there are different models of customer relationship. It is important using the business canvas template to understand how you are going to create their relationships. Whether you have a platform for it. Then people now, a lot of technology companies have chatbots. They have virtual assistants. So there are a lot of ways in this modern world you can create this relationship. It's not because of situation with COVID, you've realized that you cannot always go meet your customers. So how are you going to communicate with them? How are you going to build this relationship? And if the relationship is such that you are buying one product at a time, for example, Amazon, or for example, Myntra, you might buy one product at one time and you might buy something 3 weeks later and a completely different product. So they have created virtual assistants, they've created chatbots to communicate with you, because also they are saving costs. You cannot have a market where you have got consumers which are in millions, and have a customer service satisfying every one of them. So you have to decide how your business canvas model works for you. So it is very important in customer relationship, because that's what gives you stability and longevity for your business.
Yeah, one more aspect of customer relationship. Let us take an IT company. Okay, most of the students tomorrow, when you get graduated or post graduated, you would like to join an IT company or any company. Okay, so the fundamental notion is, or the myth is, the customer relationship is only for the salespeople, marketing people, or the top guys. Okay, that's the mindset most of the companies operate. So let me let me give some examples. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so let us take, you join an IT company and you are building some artificial intelligence solutions for a client. Okay, so now you're not facing the customer. Okay, and there is a guy, a project manager, he's facing the client, and then there is a business analyst who interacts with the client, and some of you are technical people who are building that solution, who may not interact with the client. Now when you build that solution, okay, when you build the solution in today's world, then what happens, that solution is going to be used by the customer. And if you don't have that understanding of what customer wants, and if you don't have that relationship with the customer to know how the product is going to be used or how the service is going to be used, then what happens, you will be working in the silo. And then that solution what you develop is not going to be a game changer, and it's not going to create value. And that's where the conflict starts arising. Okay, so that's the reason, if you look at most of the companies today are changing the way they are operating, what used to be like a traditional model. And today's model is every employee in the company has to know the customer, whether he interacts with the customer or not. Every employee should know the customer pattern, the customer behavior, and the customer understanding. Then that goes into the product, that goes into the solution what you are making, and that creates a unique and a game changer solution. And that's where is important. Then you will be able to decide what artificial intelligence solution I should use to create that bot, or what is the self-service I need to create for the customer to support. Because today all of us are supporting remotely. Okay, now what happened? Where is the project manager? Where is this guy? Nobody knows. Okay, I have a problem. Directly, I contact the engineer. Okay, and that guy who has to support me, because it has opened a different ball game together. And that's where it's important to know your customers and build that relationship. And that's where it will give you help to see whether you want to do an automated service, whether you want to do a self-service, whether you want to do a workflow-based application, or most important, how do you co-create that value? Okay. So customer segment is, we covered it earlier also. So it is like, suppose as an IT company, it's important to know what segment we are operating currently and what is the segment we want to enter. Suppose most of the IT companies are not even into the digital segment or remote segment, or how do you handle projects remotely? Let me give one example. Today, earlier what happened, project management is always done on site, and today it's all remote. So now what is that project management tool we need to apply to manage projects remotely? And same thing if I go back to the customer, if I go back to a company, how do I manage customers virtually? Okay, so today you have limitations to go to the customer. Like let us take example Otis. Okay, we want so today we have a limitation to go to the customer to showcase how the elevator looks like. Then what digital tools I can use virtually to showcase that product in a very three-dimensional or a very, very highly effective way. So that creates an impressive market. So these are the new ways of engaging with the customer. These are the new ways of creating the customer segment. And then how do we network them? And how do we co-create to make sure that these customers is also part of your product and service? How you can bring the feedback of the customer in your product, in the services, what you do. So this is totally changed what used to be many years. Today, customers, there are many companies who have customer advisory role, where the customer comes and shares their feedback and participates in co-creating the product and co-creating the solution and co-creating the service. Okay. And the cost structure. So related to the cost structure, so Shailesh, you want to touch upon?
Yeah. So basically, the cost structure is once you've decided what your value proposition is, once you've decided your what is the right side of the business canvas, your customer segment, customer relationship, channels, and then you see what do you require for that. You require the key partners, you require the activities, you require the resources. Now you come to the cost structure. How are you going to fund all this? What is it that you have to pay for in your business model? So you then decide, okay, I'm going to either take, this is going to cost so much, this is going to cost so much, whether I have to take a bank loan, what are the value drivers in this? What is it that what are the fixed costs? What is the rents? What is utilities? What are your salaries? How much product do I need to make? Where you get economies of scales coming in? What will the market hold? Can I really market this product? So it's a fundamentally, so it gives you an insight into cost structures. Then that's where you have to, even as an engineer, you have to know your financials. You need to know your cash flows. You need to know your P&L. You need to know your balance sheet. You have to have some knowledge of finances. I'm not taking account, you need to have a knowledge as a chartered accountant one, but you should know the simple mathematical things that if you're going to have this value proposition, what is it going to cost you? So these are the things you must know as an engineer. And these cost structures you have to assess timelessly. So it's not that they won't change. They will change depending on your value proposition, your customer segments, your product, etc. So that's about cost structure. So one of the key things is if your cost structure is so high and your revenue generation is low, that is not a viable option. It is not feasible. It's not viable. It's not going to make you any money. But okay, there are companies and organizations which I have experience with, which say, okay, today my cost structure is costing me so much, but my payback will be in 3 years. So they absorb that cost structure. So there are ways around it. But traditionally, if your revenue stream is less than your cost structure, it's not a viable, feasible option.
Yeah, just to give one simple example on this cost structure, because traditionally, if you look at it earlier, people were buying computers on a capex model. Okay, and today what happened? Today Today, it's all what you call OPEX, okay, or paper usage, okay. And earlier, people used to build data centers based on CapEx. Today, it's all on the Azure cloud. So it's all again based on usage and the paper usage. So look at the way the cost model has changed drastically across some of the companies. And it's also creating a game changer in all the brick and mortar company. Okay, so couple of things which I want to give you as a takeaway for this cost structure. Number one, it's important to assess what is the cost structure I am following currently. Okay, and second, what will be the cost structure in the new normal? Okay, so even if I'm operating an OPEX model, okay, pay-per use, then what is that I can give in a better way so that I attract my customers and I can retain my customers? Because today people are not interested in a high intensive or high value item. Okay, so another one example is today you look at people owning a car versus people renting a car. Okay, because if you own a car, okay, in most of the places you have a nice apartment, you get a car parking. But today you look at the way the traffic is there. So one, if you own a car, then you need to have a place to park the car, maintenance and other stuff. And today you take Uber, a game changer. So today I don't need to own a car. If I want something, I just pick up, the guy will drop me. I don't need to worry about the parking and other stuff. So it's a models are changing and the dynamics are changing. So it's important to revisit the current cost structure and see what cost structures are creating leakages for my business. Because when you have a high cost product, okay, and second, and if your volumes are very less, then you're not making profit. Okay, at the same time, if you have too many products, okay, if you have so many products, and if you have 100 products and 100 products with different SKUs, and if you are not making profit with all the SKUs, so what happened? The profit making SKUs is what you call the non-profit making SKUs are killing the profit making SKUs. So this is where it's important to do this exercise. And second, this cost structure is interlinked with all the business model. It gets interlinked to your value proposition. Okay, this is what is my goal. Then what is the cost structure I want to create for my goal? And this is what is the partnership I want to maintain, and what is the cost structure I want to create for the partnership, and this is the resources I want to have, and what is the cost implications if I want to have. You can't, like, you want to hire a very high cost resource, but the resource is not going to be used effectively, then it's like a white elephant. Okay, so it's important to see the cost structure plays a very important role for profitability, but also at the same time it creates an economic of scale. So supporting the cost structure is the revenue stream. Okay, so now when you talk about cost, it's also about the revenue. Both are interlinked. So I will not take much time. So revenue streams, we have already talked about it by Shailesh, we talked about it. So it's important to see what is the cash flow. Suppose you are running your own company. Okay, so it's one is what is that monthly income I'm going to get so that I pay to myself people. Okay, and same thing for every organization, this revenue streams is important. What is my current revenue stream and how this revenue stream is going to sustain in the next 5 years, and what is the new revenue stream I need to create in the next 5 years? It's important. And all of us know what happened the last year. Many restaurants got closed. Okay, people were not able to go to the restaurant. What happened to those people? Okay, because there are people working in the restaurant and most of them were not paid salaries. And second, what happened? Then the new way of business started working. Most of the restaurants started partnering with some Uber Eats or somebody to deliver food at your homes, at your home. So this is where all the organizations rethink about the revenue stream, because this changed the way people thought about the one is your consistent revenue stream, and second, one with the changing world or with the changes happening, what is the revenue stream we want to create agile? It's called an agile revenue stream. Okay. Now let us talk example. Let us summarize this how this business canvas application can be used. One, strategy. We talked about whether you want to start a company or whether you want to revisit what the company is doing, or this is the right time every company is relooking at their strategy, relooking at their value proposition, relooking at their customer base, product and solution, because last year the pandemic still, which is currently on, It's creating game changers. It's creating ripples across the industry. So this is the right time to redefine the business model. And even you take about the educational institutions. Today, earlier, it was all people coming into the classroom and studying. What happened? So it's all digital, it's virtual. And the way we deliver contents virtually is totally changed. Okay, you have webinars, you have this concept of working as a team in a project. So it's changed. So what is the business model we need to change? And the second is about the dashboards. So I'll give some examples later. And we talked about competition because business model canvas also helps you to create competitive intelligence. It's always important to keep an eye on your competition. Okay, you can't close your eye on your competition. We need to know what's happening in the world and what's happening within the industry and what's happening with the competition and what things they are doing differently and what things I need to do differently to be in the race. Okay, and second, portfolio, we talked about it. What portfolios you want to retire, what portfolios we want to create new game changers. And innovation, of course, innovation is a way of life. So this is a good time for opportunity. Every company is trying to innovate and create an idea. Okay. And we talked about customers, and the most important is alignment. Okay. We touched upon this. It's important to align all these various blocks. Okay. And all the various pieces in an organization, all the various resources in an organization. Earlier, if you go to any organization, some of the people, some of the departments are not aligned. Even you take some of the B schools, there are many courses available in the B schools, but some of them are not even aligned. So it's the right time to see what is the course I want to create as a value proposition. Okay, today digital is a course. So what is that value proposition I need to create? And then what is that alignment I need to bring among the various courses I have to create a unique course unique course across the B school as an offering. Okay, so we talked about strategy, and then second, we also talked about alignment. We talked about investment, and another one, mergers and acquisitions. So this is the one which is this business model canvas. See, every company doesn't operate everywhere in every portfolio, and this is a time it's important to see, hey, whom do I partner with, or what companies do I need to acquire to expand my business or expand my horizon. And that's where this business model canvas gives you an opportunity. And also when you do this competitive intelligence to identify those companies which you can go partner, which you can acquire. And second, when you not only acquire, it's important to integrate them to your main fold because they are part of your value proposition. Okay. And the last but not least is the exit strategy. Okay. If you are doing some business, when you know that this model is not working, or this product is not working, or this services is not working, and it's important to see how you retire gracefully and start embracing the new way of working. Okay. With this, I will touch upon something, few things on design thinking. All of you know this, at least would have heard this concept called design thinking. It's a very powerful and a very beautiful concept. It can be used to support your strategy. It can be used to it can be used to address a problem. It can be used to resolve some customer requirement, or even you can use design thinking to enable your career growth. Okay, that's something new. You can visualize this career growth. So let us talk about something called culture. Okay, so let us see how you can apply this design thinking in your career. Today in India, we are multicultural society. Now, as a professional, you want to be a global leader. So when you want to be a global leader, how you want to be multicultural? Okay, how you want to adapt to the multicultural environment? How you want to embrace this multicultural? What are the challenges we face in a multicultural? And what skills do I need to learn to adapt to this multicultural environment? You join an IT company and you're required to support a European client. Now, what do? How do you, first of all, is culture, the diversity. So how do you adapt to that? That's point number one. And second, motivation. Okay, what motivates you to be in that career? What motivates you to be in that role? Okay, and what motivates you to drive or the urge to take that lead? So we need to identify what is our motivation factor and what is the motivation factor of the company. And finally, what is that motivates me. And most important in today's situation, everybody is working alone. Okay, you other than only your partner is your laptop or your iPhone or your desktop. There is no other partner, and what you see is virtual. Okay, now how do you motivate yourself in this environment when you want to work 14 hours, 15 hours? So that's where is this motivation plays a very important. And we talked about this feasibility and viability. I'll go to the next slide, so we'll talk about that very clearly. So what is this process of design thinking? How do we apply it? I'll give two examples. One, you are building a solution. Okay, building a solution for IT solution for a company. Okay, it's like an RPA solution you are building. So it's important to understand we need to understand. The first part is understanding. So empathize. So first is what this solution, who are my users who are going to use this solution? Okay, so that's the fundamental. I am building a RPA solution. Who are my user? So let us take, you are building a solution for a banking customer, and this RPA solution is going to be used by my customer, that is my banking customer, and what they are going to use it for. Okay, and that's the reason if you look at some of the portal, immediately the moment you log, there will be a chat box coming. It can be irritating or it can be motivating. It depends upon the way the person interacts. So it's important to create that inclusiveness. And the second most important is define. Okay, what is the problem statement? And how do you define that problem? Because most of us has a challenge in defining a problem. Okay, so sometimes when you ask somebody, can you define a problem? Okay, hey, my system is not working. My Salesforce is not working. That's a generic statement. What is not working? So we need to identify crystal clear definition for the problem. Okay, and the second, ideate. So what is the solution we are going to do? And how are we going to do the brainstorming of ideas to come with different possible solutions and ideate? And the next one is the prototype. So you have a client, a customer comes and says, hey, I want to build a nice RPA solution. Fantastic. I understood the requirement. I understood your problem, and I have very good ideas. Now, what is important is you need to demonstrate that ideas to that customer and to make sure that he is impressed with it. And that's what you create a prototype. So prototype is not a complete solution. It's just the way the solution will look when you build that solution. So this is important. And prototype is also an opportunity to know what did you understand about the customer and what ideas you are bringing to the table. And finally, what are the solutions you are going to apply to create that USP or the prototype. And finally, then you will do the testing. Okay. Most of us, what we do when we try to deploy a solution and after it goes live, then we have problems. Okay, it's the same. Like you buy a product in suppose you buy an iPhone. Okay, you spend a lot of money with the iPhone, and the iPhone comes nicely packed into your home, and suddenly the iPhone doesn't work. What happened? And same thing, you buy a nice laptop, it comes home. So what does it call? It's called an escape or a turn back. So this is where it's important to do the testing. Same thing, you put yourself in the shoes. You build a nice solution for a client, and then you deploy the solution, it went live, and suddenly you have a lot of issues and people have to call back. So how do you make sure that you mistake-proof the problem? And finally, how do you deploy successfully? And what is the methodology we want to implement this solution? Believe me, this concept, you can use it in your career, okay? So if I just correlate it with your career, where am I in my career? Okay, what are my competitors doing in my career? What are the other students doing in my career? What are the career options available in the new normal? Okay, and that is what we call it as empathize. And define is what challenges or what limitations or what skill sets I lack and what skill sets I want to gain to be in the competitive world, in today's new world. And ideate. This is where what you need to do. You need to identify some mentors, coaches, your principals, your teachers, to identify how you can ideate, or you talk to your close friends and say, hey, what is the market is all about? What skills do I need to learn? And how do I create a game changer the moment I enter into an IT company? How that IT company pick me? I need to stand out in the crowd. Okay, and then what you do, you create a prototype. It's called persona, I call it. Okay, you create a persona for yourself. and say, hey, this is my personality, this is my persona, and these are my skill sets, and this is what I am good at it, and this is what is my learning capabilities. And then what you do, you try to do the testing yourself in front of your people. You do try to do a mock and get a feedback from your people and say, hey, how do I look? What's my persona looks like? What do I need to improve? And finally, just go and bang. And that's where you implement and create your personality. And that is what is called your own persona in the industry. So anything you want to summarize?
Okay, I just want to share a personal event regarding this design thinking. Few years ago, my son was doing his undergrad, and he was doing some internship in Spain. So there was some project with the hospital. So basically, they utilized this design thinking process to actually make a wheelchair for old people who are paralyzed. I mean, it was unbelievable, the process, and I went through it. They went to the hospitals time and time again, understood what the requirements were. They analyzed, they defined the problem, they researched it, and finally came up with a wheelchair. It took them, I think it took them 3 months, but finally they delivered at a very low cost. So, this is an engineering problem that I am giving you, but this same thing can be applied all across, to your career, to your companies, to your to yourself, to your personal development. As Subbu said, it is very, very important that you have your mentors, you have your coaches, talk to your professors, learn from them, learn from everybody, and develop yourself, develop a persona, create a I want to learn attitude. It's your mindset is the key. Have that mindset. And a lot of the issues that come up with design thinking is to do with mindset, where you have people from different mindsets, but you have to make them work, because to design the product at the end, you require all kind of input, and all data is not available at that time. And that's the beauty of design thinking, that you can find a solution without too much data. So otherwise, I think we've covered the design thinking.
Okay. So with this, we conclude the section, and we are open for the questions. And just before we conclude, so I just want to put up a very nice, powerful slide, which is quite relevant in today's world. And all of us know Patanjali is a very famous saint yoga who invented yoga. So I would recommend every one of you to do yoga and meditation, because it helps a lot in current challenging time. And it's important, all of us, it's important to have passion, and it's important to have a purpose. So our request is, we will share you this slide, we will share you the template. Take a project, form a group of 5 to 6 people, take a simple project, apply all the models, and use the BMC tool for creating your own project. And that is where you gain that experience of how to apply these templates or how to apply this model in your life. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Shobha, for you.
Shobha.
Fantastic. Thank you. It was really interesting one. Anybody has questions? Yes, sir. If anybody has questions, we can pick up. Yeah.
Sir, you told about that agile management, no, sir, revenue management.
Yeah, Disha.
What is the importance of that, sir? In
which you want to know what is agile management or agile methodology? Yeah, agile.
Yes.
Am I right? If
yes,
I
sir,
understand this question. Okay. So see, let us take example. There are 2 ways of managing. You are from an IT background, if I understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in IT, there are 2 ways to do a project. One is the traditional way, which is called waterfall project, and second is called agile way of project. So in traditional, what happens? You go get the requirement, go and build the project, And second, finally, you go through the process of testing and delivery. But in an agile, what you do, you create sprint approach. Okay. So you want to build, suppose, let us take example, you're building an ERP solution for a company. Okay. So what you do, you split that ERP solution into multiple sprints. Okay. And then what you do, you build that sprint one, means when you build the sprint one, then you deliver the sprint one. And when you build the sprint two, you deliver the sprint one, sprint two. So this approach, what happened? One, it creates flexibility. And two, you keep the user or the customer engaging from the day one of the design stage. If you look at the traditional model, what happened? You build a product, then after that you deliver the product, and the customer comes and say, hey, this is not aligned with my requirement. Okay, you missed out the requirement. Then what happened? That's where the conflict arises, and you go back to the storyboard and rebuild the solution. You incur cost. Okay, so that's the reason why we recommend agile, and how this business model canvas, the design thinking, will help you to build that agility into the solution what you build.
Okay, sir.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Hello everyone, this is Shweta from 8th IIC. Sir, I have a doubt, sir. Is that business plan and business canvas model, these two are same or they are different?
Business management and business model canvas. Okay,
Business plan.
Business plan and business model canvas. Okay, business plan is one of the part of the business model canvas. Okay, so let us take example. Okay, there is a company. Okay, and that company create a yearly business plan. They will say, oh, this is what we want to spend. This is what is my current capex for this year, and this is what I want to build. So I will put it in a very simple way. In the home, we all do financial planning. Okay. So the moment you get what is the monthly expense I want to do. Okay. And what is that I want to, out of this monthly, how much investment I should make, and what is the money I should give it to my loan, and what is the money I can spend for my groceries and other stuff. The same way, every company has a business plan which gets created for a year. And in that, what they say, what are the recurring expenses and what is the ongoing? That is called the business plan. Business model canvas is a strategic tool to deliver, to create a business itself. Okay. Today, I have a business. Okay. It's important to revisit the business once in 5 years, and that too in the current challenging situation, to say, am I doing good? Am I doing great? Am I doing bad? Okay. Or am I not doing well? So one of the parameters of the business model canvas is also the business plan. Means, am I making profit? What is my cost increase? What are the things which is draining my company? And that's where this model will help you to revisit your business plan also. Shweta, you got it?
Yep, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, any more questions from participants? Okay, I think no questions, sir.
Okay.
So now I request Dr. Munesh Achari, sir, to propose vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, madam. First of all, I would like to thank today's speakers, Subramaniam, sir, Director Digital Technology, and Shailesh Patil, CEO and founder of Saptro Prague, Czech Republic, and for giving a wonderful insight, and almost all the things you covered, sir, especially with respect to value proposition, key resources, value-added services, and challenges which are there, and customer relationship management, that is CRM, why it is, and what is the most important thing which is there with respect to CRM, and then cost structure and revenue streams and design thinking, and what is the difference between partnership and relationship. Excellent insights that you gave. And also almost you covered everything with respect to the business modeling. So I must thank both of you, sir. On behalf of GMIT, I extend heartfelt thanks to both of you. Thank you very much, sir. And also,
thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Monish. Thank you very much. I think we promised one thing for all the students, like how they can use the BMC for the project. If all of you
yes,
can wait
sir.
only for 5 minutes, I will just explain how you can use this BMC for your projects. Okay, if all of you are okay with it, I'll just share the slides, please.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure.
Super. Yeah, can you help me to share, please? I think okay, good. Okay, so all of you can see the slide now. Okay, superb. So let us
now it is, sir.
Yeah, so let us talk example like we had Sweta and other members who are part of the IT fraternity, and you want to do a project, IT project, okay, for your MBA or your bachelor's. So let us talk about what we do instead of key partners. Then what you need. So you identify a project. Okay, so let us take example. You are being assigned a project by your B school, which is like build a project on artificial intelligence or deep dive learning or machine learning. Okay, so now when we talk about key partners, so what you need to do? Let us talk with value proposition. So what is the name of the project? So in value proposition, you will say what is the name of the project, what is the scope of the project, and second, who are the people who are going to use when you build that solution, like you build an RPA solution, who are your target customer, who is going to use that product, and how they are going to use that product, and what challenges that company is facing, and that's where you are building this product. Okay, so that all things you will cover under value proposition. Now let us talk about key partner. So when you are building this RPA solution, who are your partners who can give you that support to build that solution? So it can be any RPA vendor, or you're talking to Microsoft, you're talking to anybody. So then, or even within your B school, who are your partners who can help you to build that solution? Okay, or you're working, or you're getting support from an external company. So who are the partners who are going to support that in your product? And second is the key activities. So you need to deep dive into the activities which will help you to build that product, whether it's identifying the partner. So let us talk example. What are the activities which goes in identifying a partner? So what is that criteria you want to give to identify a partner, and what is the role the partner will play for you in building that solution or supporting that solution or delivering that solution? So that is on key activities. Now coming back to key resources. So let us talk about your team. You are a 5 people team or a 6 people team. Who is going to play what? Who is going to be the project manager? Who is going to be your project lead? Or who is going to be the developer? Or who is going to market this product? Or who is going to be the CEO? Whatever name you want to give for your company, for the project. So you need to identify the resource. And what are your external resources? It can be your professors, it can be your teachers. So what is the role, or what is the guidance you want to expect from your teacher? And the last but not least, if you are dependent on any other vendors, what is the support you expect from your vendors? Okay, so this is on the resources. Okay, and one more important thing on resources. Today, all of us are working remotely. So that is also called resource. So all of us have IT equipment, computer, the relevant software to build that solution, and relevant technology to build that solution. So all these things comes under resources. Do we have the copyright, or we are using the right solution? Sure. So all these things comes under the resources. Okay, now coming back to the customer relationship. Now, who do you want to pitch this product for? Okay, you're spending like 3 months to build the project. Whom do you want to pitch? Okay, and would you like to do a POC with those people? Okay, would you like to offer POC? And what is that you want to build that relation? What is that you want to understand from that customer, and how you want to fine tune that solution to the customer? And if you are doing a live project with the customer, which industry it is? What is the customer doing? What challenges the customer is facing? And how you can create some value added using this POC, and tomorrow it can be a product, tomorrow it can be a solution. So that is why you need to build that, build those things in the customer relationship and channel. So today I understand that for your project you may not have a channel, but yes, you may have some indirect. So who are your people who will voice your solution? within that company or outside that company. So suppose you are building this solution for as a project for a company, okay, as an intern. So now, who are the people in that company who will voice your solution, talk positive about your solution, and create that awareness, okay, or create a fan following for you. So this is, you need to identify the channels, okay. And same thing within your institute, how you can promote this product, how you can promote this solution, or within the company, how you can do that. And last one is the customer segment. Okay, so when we talk about customer segment, so within that company, so if you are doing this project only for marketing or finance, so you need to understand in that customer, what is the segment you are doing this project. And tomorrow, once you create a POC, can this project, can this solution be scalable to other functions also? And second, what is solution, this solution will have an impact on the external customer, and what impact it will have on the internal customer. So these are the things you will learn when you apply these principles of the project. And the last but not least is the cost structure. Suppose there is some cost involved. So what is the money you're going to invest in building this solution? And second, what is that company? Is the company is going to pay you that finance or going to fund you for this POC? So you need to put it into the cost structure. And of course, today it's not a revenue, because for you, revenue is creating that brand, creating that experience. So it's not a monetary, but at the same time, it's more important. So what is that branding I'm going to get out of it? What is the knowledge I'm going to get out of it? What certificate I'm going to get out of it? And what is the success factor? What are the metrics I want to create as a success factor? Because people say, oh, I created a very good, nice project. Like when you go for an interview, and after you do the project, okay, and then suppose you've gone for an interview for an IT company, and they ask you, hey, you say I did a nice project. Now, what do you mean by the word nice? Okay, and say you created success, and what do you mean by success? So you need to quantify those nice factors. You need to quantify that success factors and say, hey, this project, I used the business model canvas, and this is where I was able to create a metrics. And suppose I delivered this RPA solution. There are 15 users who are using this solution, and this is the purpose they are using. And this is the feedback I got from the users, both positive and negative. If there is a negative, what actions did I take to improve, to create that positivity? So this is how you use this business model canvas even for your project. Okay. Okay, superb.
Hello.
Thank you, Subbu.
Yeah.
Actually, this template, I would use it for our project team who is working on the projects with us. So I think this is a great template for them to start.
I created one project template, because I will just send it to you so that they can share. So I customized this template to project. I was using it for some other purpose. I can just send it to you.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you very much.
Superb.
Yeah, so Subramaniam sir and Shailesh sir, I'm become fan of yours, sir. Today. The reason is the commitment what we have, sir. See, sir, actually I was thanking you and you stopped me and you continued your with BMC model. See, that is the commitment, sir. What all the participants who are present here, they have to learn, and including me. What a great commitment, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, passionate about
information. Excellent, sir. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank
you for your kind words. Thank you very much. And we once again thank each one of you, Dr. Prakash, Dr. Madheshwari, and all your team members for the excellent opportunity, and gratitude of thanks, and special thanks to my great friend Shobha, our great friend, for giving us this wonderful opportunity once again to interact with all of your students. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
sir. So also I would like to extend our sir. Yes, sir. Shailesh sir, you were telling something. Yes, sir. Also, our GMIT would like to extend thanks to Shobha Patil, founder and managing director, BPA Labs, Prague, Czech Republic, and also mainly we proudly say GMIT alumnus. So
thank you very much,
Shobha
sir.
Patil.
I appreciate, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for supporting our GMIT IIC from for a very long distance place also. Thank you very much, and you are there with us all the time in our. Recently, we had one project activity. In that also you supported. Thank you very much for all the support.
Yes, sir.
And
Sure.
this will be
Thank
there
you.
continuously. This will be there continuously. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And
Pleasure
also,
is mine.
yeah, I thank you, ma. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I thank our principal sir for giving this opportunity at this platform for all our students and the faculty members to understand business model canvas from the right speakers. And I extend our thanks to all our HODs for various departments. And also I extend thanks to especially Dr. Sunil Kumar sir, the HOD of IIC department, and organizers Kirti Prasad and Nazreen Taj madam. Thank you very much. And especially one more last but not least, all our students. They are the main people. The students who joined us and they were supporting continuously, and we expect the same thing in the coming activities also. Thank you very much, and thanks to one and all for this. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you
very
all.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank
Bye.